Okay, awesome deal. Let's jump into this. We're going to be talking a little bit about recruiting, and I asked Emily to lead out on this. Like, Emily, you're honestly one of the coaches who, in the entire network, probably, a handful of coaches that recruits the most. So I was really excited to hear, what you're doing today. And Amber, obviously, you just talked about what your recruiting was last month. So I feel like I have two recruiting titans on this call with me today. So this is exciting, way fun. But Emily, if you'd be willing to, start the call off today as far as like some of your best practices, things that you've seen that have really enabled you to, bring on more coaches, things that have worked, maybe even some things that you tried that didn't, that'd be great. Well, we'll go ahead and turn the time over to you.
Awesome. So it is very weird that recruiting is a strength of mine because for the first year, it was my biggest weakness, like completely. Up until January of this year, so December and beyond, I think that my top number of recruits ever was like 5 in a month. And then like a mindset switch happened and I really wanted to get out of my job, like really bad. I was waiting tables and I hated it. I hated it so much. And I just decided it wasn't going to be a weakness for me anymore. And so I just started trying anything and everything. And I got really, really solid on my sneak peek process, which I'll talk about. But I went from recruiting about 5 coaches a month to about 35 on average, 30 to 35. So it definitely flipped the switch. And those were all business working coaches, or at least they had the intentions to. So it was interesting, and it really can happen like that, but you really have to dial in on a system and stick to it until you perfect it. So what I started doing, I knew I had these big goals. And at the time, at the beginning of the year, my goal was to finish in the top 100, which I realized was a smaller goal than I should have been setting for myself. But that was my goal. And I knew that I was going to have to amp up my actions because I was at like number 2,000 at the end of the year in December. I was a baby coach. I'd been coaching for like a year and I just didn't realize how the whole system works. So I knew I'd have to amp up my actions. So I committed to doing a weekly sneak peek, which I know most people don't do. But I knew that to produce more, since I was newer, since I didn't have the flow of it, since I didn't have as big of a following, I would have to work a little bit harder. So I do 3-day sneak peeks, Monday through Wednesday, every single week. For me, I'm very habitual. It's a system for me. If I get out of it, even for a week, I feel like I lose my flow. So that's really important to me. And obviously, to have a weekly sneak peek, you need to have a lot of contacts coming in. So I just got really consistent on social, on really trying to connect to my people. And it's interesting because I started this business at 22. I just turned 24 like a couple of weeks ago. So my team is very young. And it's kind of cool because I feel like it's an untapped market almost a little bit, but also it's, it presents its challenges as well. You have to find the motivated, and it's not quite as easy, I feel like sometimes, but that's okay. But that was another one of the things that I really had to overcome and figure out who I was speaking to, who I was looking for, and who I was trying to attract. So I really dialed in on what I wanted from my team, who I wanted. I wanted people just like me. I wanted people who are my age, very motivated. I've had people, who are 20 years older than me, and for some reason, there's not a connector there. And it's not that I wouldn't want them on my team, but for me, I realized that I gelled and vibed best with people who are very similar to me. So I knew what I was looking for, and then I just started catering to that completely. And I think the power is in the sneak peek. I'm horrible at email, and honestly, it takes me forever to email people back because I hate it. It's black and white. It's not interesting to me at all, and I'd rather get face-to-face with somebody, talk to somebody, or video. So I got really solid in my sneak peek process. So it's a 3-day every single week, Monday through Wednesday. And I think that the secret to sneak peeks, like the key, is that you just load it with story and relationships. In there, it's like I'm explaining coaching, but kinda. Like they understand what a boot camp is. They understand that that's something that I do. They understand that I'm, doing my workouts and posting on social media. But I really want them to connect with me as a person. I need them to really relate to me and to feel loyal to me before they even sign up as a coach. Because when they sign up, I want them to rock. And I feel like for that to happen, they almost have to want to contribute to the team. And so they need to like you. And so I just load it with stories. So day 1 is literally just like about me. And I ask them to like comment below and break the ice. So I ask them like a conversation question. But I load them with my fitness story, where I'm coming from, what I was before a coach, how I came here, how I started my team. And it's like 10 minutes. It's not super long. I do make the videos fresh every week because I think the fresh energy, I believe it matters. I know they have no idea, but I think that they do. So I make them fresh every week. So the first day is just about me. The second day is all about my boot camps, what I do in a day, what my activities are as a coach. And then day 3, I hop in live for a live Q&A so that they can get any other questions answered. And then I open up registration that night. I make a big deal about it. I don't put a number on it because I feel like that's almost intimidating for people, like 5 spots only. I don't know. I feel like I don't like it. So I just kind of let them know, I'll cut it off when I get to that comfortable threshold. I really want to have the time to one-on-one mentor every single one of you that I get, signed up on the Fit Boss Squad. So that's important to me. I go quality over quantity. I always mess that up. And I just let them know that there's not unlimited spots, but I'm really excited for them. So at that point, after my sneak peek, they know me really well. They know why I love coaching so much. I really did get into it for the program since I had already had a transformation. I was very loyal to Beachbody. So they know that what my intentions are, I guess, and what their job as coach is. I let them know their goals. Month 1, you're going to be helping 3 to 5 people in your boot camp. And I'm going to make sure you're trained and equipped to do that, but that's your goal. I'm going to help you really kick this off strong. And I think that process for me, I've dialed it in at this point because I did it every week, but I got better at it. So they kind of sucked at first, but every single week it gave me the opportunity to get better on camera. And I think that's something that can really help us as coaches outside of sneak peeks. I mean, anywhere being on video is the only way that people can hear our voices and get to know us as individuals. And so it helped me because I was horrible on video. I was very introverted, and it's just helped me break out of a shell, which is great. So that's really my process. And I found that my biggest relationship builder for me is Instagram. I have a way bigger following over there than Facebook. I can speak, I think it's my people. That's where my people are. They're quick. They don't want to read a novel. They don't care about a novel, but I can get them my story, and I just try to add as much value as possible. And I like it on Instagram because it's just like a pretty picture. You make a really pretty picture, you can add a bunch of value, but I like to do a move of the day. But I've been able to build up a following organically over there way easier than Facebook, and you don't even have to advertise if you're effective with your hashtags and effective with putting out good content. So that's where I find my new people every week. I'm very consistent. I post about 4 to 5 times a day on Instagram, and it just keeps a healthy flow into my business, which is nice. And that's my process. And I hope that that's like enough. That's my process. That's all there really is to it. It's about relationships, story, and they'll figure out more about coaching when they get signed up. That's when they get trained. But I see a lot of times people do webinars and these things, and it's so cold. It's teaching them too much before they need to know that much. Not that I want to hold anything back from them, but it's almost overwhelming where they just need to get to know you, and they need to know that you care about them as the individual. So I have them fill out an application, and the application is mostly just asking about their goals and what they want from life and what they're looking for in their business. And it's all about the individual. And I try to keep it that way. I'm trying to create a culture around that. It's time consuming, but I feel like it's good. If you want to grow fast, I feel like you have to do it with integrity. So I really try to keep it relationship based as much as possible.
I love it. And you know what I've noticed? If you guys follow Emily, there's no question what she does when you look at her social media posts, right? It's completely fitness based. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, when I see it, I always see her live workouts. She does different things like that, and it just says exactly who she is. You know what I mean? She's not screaming from the rooftops, "Come join my team." But at the same time, everybody knows when you look at her posts what she's about. You know what I mean? So I love that, and I love that you make it personal. I love that that it really is when people are becoming coaches, they're buying into you, not just to coaching, right? To you and your team. But I do have a few different questions for you. And I feel like some of the stuff you covered is amazing. And I wanted to dig deeper into some of it. So you talked about making sure that you've got the right people on your team, right? So what did you decide? How did you decide who to recruit? And how did you come to define who that person is?
Well, because I recruited a lot of people. At first, I was just anybody and everybody was really blanketed, and I realized I didn't like the people on my team. I didn't want to hop on calls with them. They were they weren't resourceful, and they just weren't my people, and we weren't vibing, and so there was no connection there. So it really helped me pinpoint who I wanted, and I realized that I wanted more people like me. I got lucky to find one of my rock stars very early on. We're very similar, and our stories are almost, it's creepily identical. And I just started to realize okay, maybe that's what I need to do is really let people know what I'm looking for. So in my sneak peek, I'm very upfront with them on video. I don't try to hold back my personality. I've had people in there before who are like, wow, do I have to be this bubbly? No, but you're not going to like me. You're not going to like our team then. So I just figured out what I didn't like, the attributes that I didn't like about coaches. And I just let them know right up front in like what I'm looking for. I let them know, you know, I'm looking for people who can run on their own with guidance and really want to help other people. If that's not your intention, you're not going to succeed at this. If you're just in it for a quick buck, people can tell. But I'm very upfront with them about that. And it took trial and error. And it just took figuring out what I didn't like. And then eventually I could dial in on the people that I do like.
Yeah, that's perfect. Well, honestly, I think it's so important to be able to do that. And most coaches who start off, that's the problem is, if you can fog up a mirror, then yeah, and you want to sign up, welcome aboard, you know what I mean? And that can cause problems, you know, I mean, as far as like their growth and you being able to help them, support them, and you guys being able to work well with each other. So, you know, getting the right people on board is, I think, a huge part of the equation as far as having a successful team. So that's great. The next question I had for you is like, there's oftentimes like what I like to call like a bridge, you know, like you start off with people on social media, right? And then there's the bridge from like them being, you know, interacting on social media with you to being part of your sneak peek. And then there's another bridge that is like, okay, they're in your sneak peek. Then there's a bridge to getting them into a challenge group. You know what I mean? And then to coaching and all of that, right? So how do you negotiate those bridges?
So I do mostly add coaches. Now I have 3 new people in my boot camp this month already. So it's not like I completely abandoned my boot camp, but I get all of my coaches started in my challenge group. That's their first priority, is that they participate and they get great results and they, you know, get active in there. I post about my sneak peek on my page. I'll post about it once a week. I don't do much more than that. But I feel like if you do it at the right time where you know like your audience is usually on and they're commenting and they're liking, the more engaging you are throughout the week where you're asking questions and kind of getting your audience used to commenting, the better response you can get on a help wanted post or whatever. But usually they just go hot. And sometimes I'll pair it with like a transformation and let them know, you know, I'm looking for people who do want to commit to their health and fitness and would like to help other people too. That usually helps me the most because I feel like sometimes if I sign up a bunch of like people who are already super fit and have never tried our programs, they don't have the conviction for that. They can, and it's not 100%, they never will. But for me, I more so enjoy getting somebody results, building them a story, and then helping them create a business from that. And I think that's been a huge part of my business, is that I did have that story. Not that you have to have a huge transformation to be successful as a coach. There's plenty of people who don't, but that for me, that's something that I know how to do. And so I can teach you how to do that, and it can help you change your life with the health and fitness aspect, and then help you turn that into a business. And I think that that's powerful. So I just try to make it seamless and try to make it all in one. Like when you're a part of the Fit Boss Squad, you're going to be in my boot camp, you're going to be participating, you get full access to that. And they're going to help a couple people, you know, join you in your fitness journey every month. And I kind of lead it like that.
I think that's so important. You know, and you're right. There's some people who can start that are like already at the apex of their fitness and they're great and they can do phenomenal, right? But I think that, you know, to truly understand the power of what the products are, like that, you know, that transformation is important. You know what I mean? Like some people who are into fitness might be able to recognize and say, yeah, this is good. But when it's transformed you both physically and emotionally, there's a power in that. You know what I mean? And those people are going to stay committed. And I love it. I mean, what we've noticed honestly is people who have had who started with the fitness and then moved into coaching oftentimes stay active for longer. So I think that's fantastic. I love it. So let's break over to Amber. So Amber, talk to us a little bit about your recruiting process. Like what does your process look like?
Yeah. Can I ask Emily one question quick?
Sure.
So just curious how you flow into the coach training. Is it like they go at their own pace for training, or you have a month, or how do you, with people joining at different times of the month, how do you do that?
Sorry, your audio cut out. Did your audio cut out? Or maybe it's my internet.
I heard her okay, but...
Okay, so you asked me about coach training.
Just your flow into coach training and when you do that.
So what I have them do, I actually have it pulled up right now. I'll share my screen really quickly. So I have it self-paced because I don't like leading the groups that are timed out, so they get access to the FitBoss Squad Training Academy. It has 7 days of training where they're learning to focus on their fitness, social media, sharing on social, having personal development in their life, growing their network every day by talking to new people, the vital behaviors, creating their first boot camp, and then their month-one goals, which are Success Club and possibly Emerald. Then they can learn more in Social Media 101 if they want to learn how to rock it, which is just a training group I did on Facebook and repurposed Emerald and beyond. There's nothing in bonus resources yet. So in their welcome email, I try to keep it really short, really simple. It asks them to join the team page, join the boot camp, and they have access to the training website, and it's self-paced. I usually try to check in with them like after a couple days, after a week, and just ask them how things are going. But I really emphasize that they get very active in the team page. And I let them know, I almost think it's rude if you don't. If I'm taking the time to make all of these resources for you, like we have a tip of the day every day and all of this stuff, and you're not participating in that, I think that that's on you. And that's, you should have more respect for the team. And for me, I don't necessarily say it just like that, but I try to get them very active in the team page. And if they are, I feel like I can tell who wants it. And if they're not, I'll reach out to them a couple times, but usually those are the people who are like weak-minded.
So then my other question you made me think of another question. So my struggle sometimes is what I share with my PS group versus the entire team. How do you deal with that?
So I had a PS group and a big team page, and I stopped using my PS group because I just had watched a ton of videos, and I am building for income as well, and I really wanted to help the entire team succeed. That's going to help my volume. That's going to help my overall security, I guess. And so although it's not necessarily like we have a diamond mentorship, and I try to pick people for me, but I'll help my coaches too, because I do want them to succeed, and I want it to be like one big family. I think that until they feel like they need to branch off and they want to do that, it's totally fine. But I was like, I had a PS group and I had a regular group, and I was torn. I didn't know what to post where. It felt bad only pulling some information to the PS group. And so right now, currently what I'm experimenting with is just using the big team page and trying to create a really, really strong bond and culture there.
Okay, that's helpful. I love just hearing how other coaches do it. So thank you for sharing that. As far as my recruiting goes, I would say I'm all about like the vital process, as Carl calls it, getting people into boot camp. They don't necessarily start as coaches. My best coaches have been ones that have lost 50, 60 pounds, and they're, just now so excited to pay it forward. So I would say, I have been doing a monthly sneak peek, but I really like your idea to do it weekly, because I just felt like that wasn't enough. And then I was not reaching out as much before that last week, because I didn't want people to sit around and wait. So I really like your idea to do it more often. And I'm currently working on a self-paced training as well. So it was really helpful to see that too, and just to know that that's working well, because I feel like that's the direction I have to go. Like you said, if you want to focus on having runners instead of people that are dependent on you for the posts and all of that kind of stuff. So I love that. But I really just focus on those results. I have a lot of accountability in my challenge groups. Like they have every opportunity to get results. I use a challenge tracker every week in the challenge group. I'm posting an update, like I do a graphic of how many people got their Shakeology, or everyone's number. So how much Shakeology they had, how many workouts they had done, and I tag them and they get all excited. And if I forget anyone, they get pissed about it. So it's like working. So that's been really good, I think, because it shows that that's kind of where I'm creating that culture of recognition of that vital behavior. And so if I'm recognizing them there, and then I'm kind of, writing notes along the way of who's engaging, who is also encouraging, so that I'm kind of trying to figure out, who to call on. But then all of a sudden I'll just have people reach out to me, like my friend Abby, who has lost 60 pounds in the last 4 months. And it's insane, you know, and she's someone that I would have never asked to be a coach. Like she had to come to me and be like, Amber, I'm ready to do this, you know, and now she's hit Success Club 10 the last couple months. But I'm learning just to like ask everybody and let them decide whether or not they want to coach. Because again, the people that I would not think, and I would say my team is very ragtag. Like some people are like me, some people are not. And I think probably the thing that is most common in my group is that we're moms, because that's just kind of our life stage. But as far as like, you know, I look at certain teams like, you know, and it's like they all look the same, they all do the same things, and I feel like my team is very not like that.
They're like the Stepford Wives teams.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
Right. So it's good, but I would say I'm still in that phase of just creating the right processes. So I just can't thank you enough, Emily, for sharing, because it's just so helpful to know what someone else who's also recruiting a high amount of coaches every month is doing, and to know like, okay, I can go for more. Like you're saying 30, 35, like, okay, let's do this. So it's helpful. So thank you.
You're welcome.
You know, and you bring up something that I think is interesting to think about, you know, when you were talking about your challenge groups and making sure that you're really focused on there. And by the way, I think it was before you joined this group, Emily, but Amber shared on challenge groups, and just like everybody was like, just crushed it. You know what I mean? So you help people get real results. You know what I mean? As the real results come, the excitement comes. And right now we're reading a book here at corporate in the sales team. It's called Let's Get Real or Let's Not Play. And what it's really about is finding real solutions for people's needs. You know what I mean? If I'm a car salesman and you really need a minivan, but I try and sell you a Corvette, even if I talk you into it, you might not be, you're not going to be happy with that sale. And the solution, even if I was successful, like I really wasn't successful for you. Like, you know, it needs to be mutually beneficial, right? And I think a lot of times what coaches will want to do is like, okay, I need to be elite, so I need you to sign up, and I need you to do this, and I need you to hit Success Club. And it's like, for those people, it's like, that's not me. I'm not, you know, like, you know, you might be able to talk them into it, but what's going to happen? They're just going to quit. You know what I mean? Because your solution isn't fitting, you know, their needs. You know what I mean? So meeting them where they're at is so important. So if somebody wants to come on and they want to, you know, get good fitness results, fantastic. We got awesome solutions for you. You know, and once you're at that point in time and you've had those solutions, then maybe you might, you know, your needs might change. Like all of a sudden you're in the shape you always wanted to be, and your need to help other people might now exist. Okay, you know, there's an awesome opportunity out there for you to help so many other people do the same things you did. And also, like, you can work from home, you know what I mean? And all of a sudden you have a solution for that person. But I think it's so important to meet people where they're at that time. You know what I mean? And not necessarily try and force everybody through the same, you know, entry point. Because everybody's at different spots, right? And if you find the right solution for them, they're going to stay around for longer. And you know, eventually those solutions or those needs that they have might change, and you can move them on to the coaching opportunity or whatever it is. So I just love that. But the other thing that made me think is there's a lot of legwork and things like that happens before you get to the actual recruiting process, right? So what I'm curious about is like how you guys interact with people before you do the invite to a sneak peek or to a challenge group or, you know, to that bridge. Like, what is the legwork that you've done with those people beforehand? Like, we always talk, you know, a lot of coaches talk about forming, you know what I mean? Like, I'm forming this person or whatever. Basically means that you're getting to know them and you're working with them a little bit and getting them ready to invite or whatever that may be. So talk to us a little bit about that. Amber, we'll start with you. Like, how do you, you know, how much involvement do you have with these people before you make that initial invite?
Yeah, I would say I have a couple different lanes because my blog brings more like of those cold people in. who maybe like they'll join a sneak peek, they love what I have to say, and they just join. But then I also do everything that I ask my coaches to do. So I'm still reaching out to my network, my warm market. I'm still building new friends every day. And so with that, I really go more of like, I want to be the person in their life who is constantly adding positivity and adding encouragement so that on their mind, like they trust that I want what's best for them. And so then I'm kind of getting a vibe of like, do you like that? Like, are you positive too? Because I have found that the most important like thing is to be positive and to have kind of a no nonsense attitude. So really I just focus on building a relationship with them and seeing if they are someone I want to hang out with, because if they're not, like, it's toxic and I don't want it to waste, so in that sense, sometimes it's better for them just to be like someone who refers people to me instead of actually being on my team. And I really try to kind of like do the test of like, would I want to have you over for a girls' weekend? Like, would we drink wine together? Or would you just be kind of like the dead weight of someone, And I think the more that I have in common with people, like you said, Emily, it's like, not that they have to have everything like you, but they have to have that same mindset, I think is the most important thing I look for, is just like, I don't want to have to hold your hand every step of the way. And so I build that relationship, and then usually before I invite, I'll just compliment them on something they've done recently and, just affirm that I know they can do this. And like Joe, you say all the time, no one's going to turn down a compliment. So I really just focus on because people just don't get recognized enough. So I just build them up. If I feel like they're a good fit, then I'm like, let's do this together, especially for friends. I'm like, let's do this together. I know this is crazy, and then they get it. Like, they get that it really, like, I really do want what's best for them. I'm not trying to get anything from it,
And I think that's so key. You have to really believe that, and the compliments you give and things are based off of things you've really seen. It's not just like being patronizing and just
right.
And things are going to be okay when you don't even know who they are. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I love that. Fantastic. Okay, Emily, how about you? How do you get to that point to get to, to bring somebody that's just on social media with you into your sneak peek?
I feel like it's interesting because I feel like inviting is one of my weak points. Attraction marketing is one of my strong points. Sending messages scares like the daylights out of me still. Like reaching out to people out of the blue. And it's something I know I could work on. I feel like I get a lot of organic connections. Like, call to actions were fantastic for me. I can handle messages. I try to get everybody over to Facebook so I can voice memo with them and just chat with them that way, or get on a video. But that's the truth. I'm not great at inviting, like the form process. I'd rather talk to them, voice memo, and just chat with them. But attraction marketing has worked really well for me, so it's gotten me lazy in the inviting department. So I need to get better at that, because I feel like things could be even better. But yeah, it's a work in progress.
And I think that, for coaches who have the attraction marketing piece down, that's the beauty of it. You don't have to spend as much time doing the invites and laying the groundwork and things like that. You know what I mean? So it is a beautiful thing, and it like pays dividends for you. I think that the place where